Hello, folks. So I got some new comparisons from the ancient Egyptian Book of Two Ways, 4,000-year-old coffin text from the Hare Nome. Basically all from Deir el Barsha Cemetery in Upper Egypt, I believe, and yeah. Hermopolis, as it's also called, or I guess the city was called Hermopolis in Greek. Basically, the city of Thoth, the city of Jehudi, who's Mercury. And this may be one of the reasons why Mercury was so much associated with the underworld, was that it was the worshippers of Mercury who kept the maps and stuff. I mean, I'm sure there's other cosmological reasons, but that might be a reason. So anyway, this is a new comparison. So these are, I showed on an earlier video, like, what seems to be Antarctica in the Book of Two Ways of Jehudi Hotep. And in that, it's just a big headless body with a bent arm outstretched, which seems to be the Antarctic Peninsula. And but in this version, which is the Book of Two Ways of Sepi, which is slightly earlier, you have two figures. So I think this one is dealing with the actual land of Antarctica underneath the ice, whereas the other one was more just dealing with even the other one wouldn't have really been possible with all the ice that's on it now, if you were just including the ice, because even the other one really delineates the contours of the arm of the peninsula. But anyway, so this is a different version where it really shows how they're actually separate islands that constitute Antarctica. There's East Antarctica, which is this huge thing here, and then there's West Antarctica, which is just this stuff over here. And so, West Antarctica is, of course, defined by the Antarctic Peninsula, which seems to be this god's arm. And, the body, I think, is pretty stylized. I don't know that that we can really find all the legs. I'm not sure if the legs are actually down here or if it's just stylized. But then this figure, we can see the shape of the part of this figure that seems the most deliberate is like the shape here, and I guess the shape here. So the shape here seems to be this down here, this kind of coastline, and then just at the top of that, he holds what I think is the South Pole, and it is about there, like in reality, the South Pole, it's towards the top of that slope. I mean, you could say it's a bit earlier, like maybe it's a bit further east or something, if we call this east. So I'm pretty sure that's the South Pole that he's holding. And the fact also that the way he looks, where his body kind of slopes out to his arms holding a pole, is like similar depiction sometimes to Osiris. And sometimes Osiris will be with like, Amentet Neferet, who symbolizes the West and probably America. And she'll be relatively slim, and then he'll have this big form like that. So this might also kind of symbolize that this is the larger one. But in general, um, or just the similarity to Osiris, because Osiris is preeminently the large one, the great one. He's defined by the fact that he's the largest landmass. So this is East Antarctica is certainly the largest landmass of Antarctica. It's kind of the Afro-Eurasia, because Osiris is Afro-Eurasia, so he's much larger than America or any other continent. So this it's kind of the Osiris of Antarctica. And then this part up here seems to be well, something up here. I think it does go in a bit, and then there is something probably around here that could be the face. Maybe this, some little ears here. And, in terms of this arm, that would just be like something in here, these kind of, this land or island chain or something that connects the West and East Antarctica. And then the dark sky symbol, of course, because this is, like near all the poles, it labels it as a dark area. So it does the same around the North Pole. For instance, Greenland is labeled as the gateway of darkness or the gate hall of darkness. And so similarly down here, we have this symbol. So this is like the sky coming out from the side, I guess. And it symbolizes like a black sky or a dark sky. So anyway, there you go. And these were retrograde, so I had to flip them. Like pretty much everything, because this is from the map of General Seppi. And in his underworld map of America, a lot of things are retrograde, but especially the southernmost things seem to all be retrograde. So, whereas in the other map of Jehudi Hotep, the map itself is retrograde, but the gatekeepers on it are all prograde, which is funny. Which means they're kind of retrograde for the map. Anyway, so there's that. Let me just make it bigger to show this a little better. And I think that his head is a little island right here. Maybe, I'm not sure if it's that. Oh, I think it's, anyway. All right, so there's that. And you can really see how they are very separate islands. And this is really the big one. And I guess I would say, like, for this one, like, the head of this one probably is this, or it might be what this is, and then this would be his ears. Yeah, that's kind of my guess there, because it shows like it slopes back and then goes out. So I think that can only really be that. But for the other one, and this is the original retrograde version. So they're actually facing this way in the map, just like all these gatekeepers are faced the opposite way. And I do not know how they reconstructed all this part that's so damaged, but hopefully they have some method to their madness. So yeah, I think this is his face, is this island. It's, forget what it's called. But, because he has like a longer face than him. Like this guy has a short face for this thing. This guy has a long pointy face and a little mouth that's more delineated than this one's. And then hair. So I think the mouth is this little inlet on the bottom. The long face is this long part. The ear is this top part, and the hair, I think, is there's a bunch of inlets on this side, so I think that symbolizes his hair. Because usually their face is some big island that's right along the coasts on the business end of them where the people would be sailing. So yeah, I think this side is the hair. This is the ear. This is the mouth. This is the nose. So it's definitely stylized, like they didn't show it exactly as it is, but that's true with most all of these. So this is a Micronesian navigation chart. So these things like this, they use to show islands and stuff like this. But it's interesting how they show it this way, because then you can't see what it really is. Let's see. Well, this is just the Chesapeake Bay with Delmarva Peninsula and Long Island actually pasted in where they are on here. So it seems like this is Long Island, the lizard's tongue, and the lizard's tail, wherever it goes, is Delmarva. And there's the feather on his, he's like Chesapeake Bay, so he has this feather on his hat and he's looking back and everything. But it's hard to know which part of is Delmarva, or like which direction Delmarva points. There's another version of the Calabria one that's just showing the horns maybe a little better. Of Sicily and Favignana, it's showing the horns on Favignana better. This is one where I just actually took the it seems that the his knife is the coast just south of him, just behind his tail. So I actually, since it has that shape, and often their knives are the shape of that coast, so that's this coast right here, which is shaped like that knife. So I just pasted it right there, but it's really down here. Okay, so here is the Falklands in the book of Jehudi Hotep. So I was showing it last time in the book of Seppi, this is in the book of Seppi. I was showing it last time in the book of Jehudi.